Evening, people. Welcome to BNR once again. We're getting used to things. We're getting used to coming back live during the day, during the early evening, and of course during the late evening as well, which is our the sort of bread and butter. But welcome back to BNR. It was always going to be something released today, wasn't there? Whether it was a here we go for Florian Wirtz, was it going to be a here we go for any other player? I don't know. Maybe a player that plays or plies his trade for Bournemouth. But maybe Wirtz Wednesday is coming up and Milos Monday is coming up. But today is all about Frimpong Friday. What an absolute brilliant season signing this is for Liverpool. And I tweeted earlier that the way I love the fact that Liverpool had tweeted this and released the news and made it official on the day that Trent Alexander-Arnold has gone to Real Madrid. Why? Because I think it sends a message. It symbolizes a few things for me. One thing that, yeah, he was a brilliant player for us, but he's gone and he's moved on. But most importantly, so have Liverpool Football Club. And I absolutely love his energy. Even in the interview bits of we've seen in and around the Dutch camp with his Dutch colleagues and now Liverpool colleagues as well, the likes of Virgil van Dijk, his captain at the national side, and Liverpool now, Cody Gakpo, Ryan Gravenberch, and for what became, I don't know if he knew that he's going to be moving to Liverpool, but Jeremie Frimpong has become officially a Liverpool player, signed 29 million or just under 30 million pounds on a 5-year deal. We'll talk about the deal and what it represents for Liverpool. But I think every single Liverpool fan, even those guys who are a bit skeptical about if he can defend, is he good enough to play right back? Is he more of a wing back? But I think everyone must agree in today's market for 29.5 million pounds or whatever it is officially, it's an absolute snip. He is a title winner with Leverkusen, an invincible with Leverkusen, and he's won trophies and league titles in 2 different countries. And I think we don't mention the fact that this guy has been to Scotland, has been played in England, played in Germany. So if there's any worries about him settling in into a different environment, a different culture, I think you should straight away get rid of those thoughts and worries, because he might not work out. We don't have any guarantees, but the foundations are there with Jeremie Frimpong, and there's already nearly 200 people in the building, and my very own brother is in the building as well. I always get happy, and I know we give him a load of rubbish. And yesterday, I shouldn't be saying this because yesterday they were going for me without me being on the stream. But whenever I see his name pop up, I get happy because Avi makes us all happy. Ali's in the building as well. Ali Mania Frimpong La Elola. That's a really bad Scouse accent for me, but I don't really give a shit. We've got the player. We've got Jeremie Frimpong off the line. And this is just the start of the summer. This is a little teaser that Richard Hughes and Michael Edwards and FSG and Liverpool Football Club as a whole are going to give us. Because, to quote the big man himself, it's going to be a summer of madness. Adnan is in the building. Salam Hussein, big up BNR. Hit the like button. It's nearly 230 of you in the building straight away. Please smash a like because we're giving you for every signing that we're getting, we're going to give you another 100 shows. That's the deal. And we are giving you content. You might have complained in the past, BNR doesn't go live enough and don't give you enough, but we are giving you more than enough. That's only fair to say this summer. Safe journey, Avi. He's on the way to Las Vegas. He's off for a couple of days, so he'll be back on your screens next week, hopefully. Have a good one, man, over in Vegas. Let's try to get some quotations up then from Jeremie Frimpong. Just bear with me. Can you guys see that? Can you just confirm that? Ali, you're normally quick with these things. I'm waiting for the first comment. Can you see that screen? Yep. Tanner, I'm taking your word for it. Let's go. there's a few quotations that I want to talk about, and then we'll talk about Wirtz after the signing of when we've covered. You don't want to be seeing my email, guys. There we are. So let me just go to a few. Where was it? The Scouse accent he was talking about. Virgil called me. He says, Virgil called me and told me a little bit about Liverpool and the expectations and all the type of things. It made me feel like the guys are going to welcome me good. And that's what I expect from Virgil. How he is in the national team, he's a big character. Some comments about Arnie Slot. Let me just get this up. Just bear with me. Some comments about. Right here. Zoom in. How do I zoom in, people? This is the first time I'm doing this. I'm looking at my phone as well so I can see the comments. Lewis, tell me how to zoom in. He says, I'm really excited to work with Arnie Slot. Even when I was at the national team, some of the Feyenoord boys would tell me about him. And he said he goes on to say he's like the best coach we've ever had. And this is what I want to stress. He mentioned he mentioned the atmosphere when he played against Liverpool, when he came over with Leverkusen. And sometimes we underestimate the fact that how fans and the atmosphere around in and around the stadium can have. I think we sometimes underestimate it, even though the Anfield atmosphere is does get discussed a lot. But these guys, at the end of the day, they might be footballers, but we don't sometimes look at them as human beings as well. We think these guys are robots. They don't sleep, they don't eat like us, they don't go to toilet like us, or whatever it is. But we sometimes neglect the fact that these guys are human beings. And even when you heard Arnie Slot talk about when the Spurs game, when we came in with the bus and we turned around to our team and players and we thought, you know what? The mentality is we're not going to lose today because we'll look at this, look at the atmosphere, and we're 2-3 hours before the game. And the same applies to the likes of Jeremie Frimpong coming over with Leverkusen on a Champions League night under the lights at Anfield. And it can have that impact. It can have that effect. And even though those players the moves might not materialize, but when Liverpool come in for you, and this is what he stressed in his interview, he said, when Liverpool came, I told my team, just get it done. And that is the impact that Liverpool and the fans as a whole can have. So big up to all the fans. You played a part in this signing. You made an impact on Jeremie Frimpong when he came out to Anfield. So you can take a little pat on the back for that as well. And then he talked about Arnie Slot and how the Feyenoord lads came into the camp when they got together with the Dutch national side. And he talked about how the Feyenoord lads said, look, this guy's the best coach in the world. And you even saw elite, and just forget about Feyenoord players, our very own players, big egos, big characters, big personalities. Virgil van Dijk, Champions League winners, Mohamed Salah, one of the best, or if not the best player ever to grace this league. He talks about Arnie Slot and he says, this guy impressed me because every single fan, I don't care who you are, we thought, who is this guy? How is he going to come and settle in? How is he going to make an impact on these guys? Because these guys are big personalities and big characters as well. How are you going to come into the changing room and have an effect? But you listen to Virg, you listen to Ryan, you listen to Cody, you listen to Mohamed Salah, and they all talk about how his impact and how his knowledge and nous and drive for the game has impressed them. And they asked Mohamed Salah last week in a Sky Sports interview, has he improved you? And he said, yes. I'm not saying Jurgen Klopp didn't improve me as a player, but even at this age and even with so much maturity in my game, Arnie Slot has improved me. So it shows you how much of an impact Arnie Slot is having on players who have not even signed for us. These guys talk when they go back to their national teams, how your coach is, how your club is, how's the environment, how's the culture. And Arnie Slot has to take huge credit. And then I want to talk about, Farouk, I'll come to your super chat very soon. I want to talk about the need for speed. there's a term that I might use that on my next tweet. The need for speed that Arnie Slot has been talking about, the intensity. It's been a couple of months since that PSG game, and he still talks about that PSG game. And I think personally that has had a lot of impact on how he sees things going forward. We saw a lot of things in that PSG side, how they control tempo. So the midfielders going in deeper areas, controlling the game, but also their forwards coming in, being very, very fluid. So you have to buy technicians for that. You have to buy players comfortable, having or being in, fluid dynamics as well, and how they were rotating positions in Dembele and Kvaratskhelia and Doué and Barcola as well, to be fair. So this guy sticking with Frimpong and how he's going to help the team, you cannot replace Trent. You cannot replace him in terms of his on-the-ball quality. So how did we look at it? And we can talk about Florian Wirtz as well, because that's very, very close in getting over the line. Is they looked at it and how we're going to create more movement around our elite playmaker in Mohamed Salah. He doesn't have the legs to go and be in that dynamic winger that he probably was 4, 5, 6 years ago. But what he is an unbelievable goal scorer as well as an elite playmaker. And that elite playmaking will only be better and excel is when you increase movement around him. So the right side midfielder or the number 10 in Liverpool will make that Kevin De Bruyne run, or if Frimpong going on the underlap and going on the overlap. It will all, if you create movement around Mohamed Salah, then you're in business. And then what they've also done, and I absolutely love it, whether it's coincidence, I don't think it's coincidence. I think they've had to actually look at it. Okay, Florian Wirtz in isolation is one of the best number 10s in the world. But the fact that he's played in the same team as Jeremie Frimpong, it makes us pick that right side of Bayer Leverkusen and then plonk it into the Liverpool side. I think it's a masterstroke in Liverpool, where there'll be a natural relationship between the right back and the number 10. And then who's in between them is one of the greatest wingers in the world, and one of the greatest, for me, the greatest Premier League player ever in Mohamed Salah. So our right side, which looked like on paper Trent, Szoboszlai, and Salah, as all of a sudden is looking like Frimpong, Mohamed Salah, and Florian Wirtz. Although a lot of the Bradley fans will tell me that he's going to start, he's going to be the first choice. I know Paul Joyce put it in his article last week that Conor Bradley is seen as first choice, but I'm not so sure. I think they'll both get a clean slate in pre-season. The benefit of Jeremie Frimpong that I've just mentioned is that he's got a head start in terms of he'll be coming in early, or whenever Liverpool call their first chunk of players to pre-season. He's also got the natural, I can't see him struggling acclimatizing to the culture, the environment, the weather, whatever it is. This guy has seen it before. So yeah, I don't have any worries, and I think it's a race between Frimpong and Jeremie, Conor Bradley, to who actually nails that right back position. And I think that's what it should be, and that's how it should be at Liverpool. There's no guarantees unless you are an unbelievable superstar, which, Jeremie Frimpong, the sky's the limit. He's only 24 years old and he's achieved so much in the game already in different countries. So I love that healthy competition between Liverpool. And the thing is, I think, is they both get a chance. And I'm not just trying to sit on the fence here. It's because that role is going to be so intense. They don't have the quality from deep areas, the progression of Trent. So what they have to do is carry the ball and be involved in, third man runs and all that sort of stuff. So because it is such an intense role, in similar fashion to the number 10 role as well, which I think Dominic Szoboszlai will still get plenty of minutes in. It's all about squad. It's all about providing quality. We've talked about how Arnie Slot has somehow given us a message in the last 2-3 weeks about his lack of options. But if we're bringing in the likes of Jeremie Frimpong, if we're adding to the squad with the likes of Florian Wirtz, and anything is possible for Liverpool. Let's go to the the super chat that I starred. Farouk, thank you very much for your super chat. He says, Assalamu alaikum, Asim. Definitely Frimpong brings character 100% to the changing room. He will be a game changer for us against the low block. I didn't use that word. I think I should have. Jeremie Frimpong is definitely an unbelievable character to have around the squad. The relationship, the camaraderie, the rapport between the relationships between, and it doesn't reflect the outside relationships off the pitch. They don't just stay on the off the pitch. Those relationships you carry them on the pitch as well, and we'll see that. And he says he'll be a game changer for us against the low block. And I think with him being comfortable in right-sided on the touchline, in central positions, and I think Frimpong was recorded as one of the highest crosses in the German league for the last couple of seasons. And the same goes for Kerkez. So there is a clear push for crosses into the box or the delivery. If you're replacing Trent Alexander-Arnold, you need to have a good delivery, because I think it was an interview with Arne Slot and Rio Ferdinand on TNT Sports, and he asked him why doesn't he allow his right back to invert into midfield from the earlier stages of the build up, and he said, look, I've got Ryan Gravenberch for that, I've got McAllister for that, but when he has that position on that little right half space to go and be explosive, then he has got that. And then, like I said, if you got the movement around Mohamed Salah, then the playmaking will be on an elite level, and we're looking forward to it, because Kerkez on one side and Frimpong and Bradley on the other, it's going to be exciting, to say the least. Let's go through a few comments. Get your questions in as well, guys, and we'll talk about Wirtz and what's happening with that deal as well. I'll try to bring up a few more quotations from Jeremie Frimpong. Just bear with me. Let's go to the super chat. Rabadam, thank you very much. Frimpong Friday is great. Now looking forward to Wirtz Wednesday. I've just seen a tweet from Pletigol. He said it could be hours, it could be weeks, it could be days. I'll be very, very surprised if Florian Wirtz takes weeks from this position, from what we're being told and what we're reading out in the public media. So I think it will be it could be over the weekend, it could be early next week. But if it's signed, sealed, and delivered to us on Wirtz Wednesday, I'll settle for that. Rabadam, thank you very much for that comment. San says flying fullbacks, ask him 100% flying fullbacks. Ali, I don't know, man. If you wanna, you take a lot of people seriously, so why don't you take Pletty? The amount of messages that you give me from spoofers, and you don't believe Pletty, at least you probably got 50% hit rate. So it's the structure left. Yeah, he's right. It's just the structure that's left. There we are. There was a comment I starred earlier. Let's go on to Florian Wirtz then, because Bonkers LFC put that comment up. And Pletigol, this is the tweet that we're talking about. There's no final agreement between Bayer Leverkusen and Liverpool for Florian Wirtz yet. And I'm glad you put that on in capitals, Bonkers. It could take hours, days, or maybe even 1 to 2 weeks. You can get involved, chat. You tell me if you think Wirtz will be done by next week. Wednesday is your deadline. Yes or no? Get involved. I think it will be, and that's just on a hunch. It's my personal opinion. Wow, Ali doesn't agree. I think he's talking about something else there. Farouk says 100%. Sleepy says 100%. Tone, I think we're all in agreement that Wirtz is on the verge. Con says, Asim Kicker said we want him done by Wednesday. I didn't see that comment myself, Con. So thank you very much for posting that. I think there's a push for Liverpool and the player side to get this done, because the last thing that Florian Wirtz, and we got told by the guys from the Jono and his friends as well over in Germany, and each said, look, the last thing that these guys want is constant questioning in the German camp. Fabrizio Romano said he's ready to fly. There are some rumors about his first part of his medical being completed in Germany. Someone messaged me that as well today, but they said, look, don't quote me on it. I'm just sharing it with you. I don't know if it's true or not, but I did get a message about that today. But you never know. He could just get on a private jet and get everything else done on a medical. I'm expecting something over the weekend because I don't know who said it. I think Sasha said it, that this second bid is expected to be accepted. So I don't know. I don't know. I tweeted a couple of days ago that whatever Leverkusen are demanding, I think they will get. Whether that means that is the same transfer fee that they demanded from Bayern Munich and eventually, put them off, I don't know. There was a lot of people were talking about it. There's a fee for Liverpool and there's a fee for Bayern Munich. Let's see if that is the case. But I think Liverpool, we just need to make sure that they don't just blow all their money on one deal. And what that means is not the fact that they're going to spend 109 or 120 million pounds, is to make sure the structures are right and we can make sure the structure elsewhere is right as well. So if we have to put 20, 30, 40 million pound on a player, on another player, whether it's Kirkes, whether it's Ekitike, whether it's Gyökeres or Osimhen, I don't care who it is. We are buying more players. And what Liverpool, and that's what you have to be sure of and confidence of, is these guys will make sure that they just don't, they'll keep their powder dry on other deals as well. So that is exciting for Liverpool. It's exciting for Liverpool fans as well. And Hassan asks the question, I think we get a 6 in. What that fifth player looks like, Hassan, or where that fifth player is going to be, I don't know. It's a bit of a split between the Liverpool fans base at the moment. I can show you. Some people will say, they will think it's a centre back. Some people will think it's a central midfielder. It could be anything. And Ghost talks about, I think this player has become a bit of a ghost for Liverpool as well. But we shouldn't forget Stefan Bajcetic, who's had a fairly decent season. I've seen some of his numbers. I've not seen a lot of his performances. I can't lie, but I've seen a lot of comps. But even though I don't like judging performances on just comps, but he has been getting some decent, praise on social media as well for the guys, from the guys who do keep a close eye on the La Liga. But Stefan Bajcetic is an intriguing profile. I've been trying to pin this guy down for a while now. Is he? Last year, when Arne Slot looked at him, he wanted him to play the number 6 role. I think I can't remember the game that he played, and he came on, and he was giving him instructions, so many instructions from the touchline, and I could tell from his body language, his expressions, and facial expressions when he turned around to the bench that he wasn't getting what Bajcetic was instructed to do. And I think that was just down to lack of experience, immaturity, lack of maturity as well, in that position as well. So I think he wanted a player press resistant and progressive. And although Ryan Gravenberch got the pick and he wasn't the ideal number 6 or the natural 6, but what made him really, really intriguing in that position is his taking on ability, the ability to drop a shoulder. But going back to Bajcetic, Ghost, is I see him when I saw him against Klopp, for Klopp for the third time, lucky, is he had that box-to-box traits, the energy, the long legs, the tracking back ability, all that sort of stuff. And I thought, you know what, we've got a player here. But now with more control from a Slot, and more discipline from the 6 is needed, then he can't be a Ryan Gravenberch. He's not going to be as press resistant as Ryan Gravenberch with a dribble. Is he progressive as McAllister from a pass? I'm not so sure, which leads me to the fact that can he be that utility player for us? So do some shifts at right back, do some shifts in the number 8 role on the left hand side. If McAllister or Gravenberch isn't playing, can he do number 6 role as well? I think he can, and he can develop into a player. He can get some minutes under his belt. Now, San says right back up. If Frimpong didn't come in, I think he could have got some minutes at right back. But I don't think he gets that now. So I think his 2 positions for me are left-sided midfield and the number 6 role. I can't count him as a number 10. He can do the off-the-ball work, no problem. Play back to goal, no chance. And that's why we're bringing... If we were concerned about Szoboszlai's lack of natural 10 traits and output as a whole, then, Bajcetic has no chance. And we ain't going to even discuss it. So those are the 2 positions that he can get a game at. Left-sided midfield or number 6. Rehan says Bajcetic isn't good enough. I can understand that position because, look, he hasn't proved it. But he's still young, Rehan. I still see natural traits that we could get something out of. Let's see whether there's a price tag on him. Every player has a price. We just cash in. Let's see. Has he got the time? Has he got the patience? One thing that Liverpool do have is time. We're not relying on Stefan Bajcetic to come in and hit the ground running. If we see a player, we can afford him to stay and do. We might even get rid of Endo. You never know. Can he do the Endo role? Shifts at right back, shifts at centre back, and shifts at number 6. We don't know. We don't know. Because one thing's for sure is earlier part of the season, Slot didn't even fancy him. And I think he grew on him as a player, as a person, his personality, his drive and determination to come on even for 5 minutes and maybe 10, 15 minutes, whatever the cameo required Endo to do. I think he did it. And I think he grew as a player and a person on the manager as well. So let's see what happens with Bajcetic and Endo as well. Salman is asking for centre-back targets. Salman, after Huijsen, I think Liverpool are reassessing their options. We were told that Liverpool do like Van Hecke's progressive passing and ability on the ball. Whether he is a target, we don't know. But he, in terms of his on-the-ball ability, is admired. Jared Brathwaite, we got given around about a week ago, even though he's been talked about a lot of the time about his links. But 2 years left at Everton with an option to extend. Salman, I don't know. Will Everton do business with us? Will they just drive up an auction and get the best price for him? And then, or can we offer him a few players? Doak might be of interest to them. I don't know. I don't know the last time we did a transfer with them. When was the last time that we did some business with Everton? I know Abel Javier played for Everton. Was that a direct transfer? I can't remember. Maybe someone can help me out. Anfield Reds, thank you very much for your comment. Brathwaite is absolutely dreadful. The guy was bullied by Nicholas Jackson. Anfield Reds, what I would say is Nicholas Jackson doesn't find the back of the net, too often. But what he does is he gives a lot of centre backs a headache. He's a bit like Darwin Núñez, where he causes chaos. He'll run all over. He'll bust a gut for you, but I'm telling you, you just can't find the back of the net. But he does, cause a lot of centre backs problem because he's a nuisance. He just doesn't stop running. Amore J, what is your opinion about Rio? Is this our Rio, the kid, the left winger? If so, I like him. Everyone who I speak to who watches a lot of the academy, who has got close links to the academy coaches and everyone around the place, they honestly wax lyrical about this guy. I knew who this guy was even at Chelsea, because I know a few mates who are Chelsea fans, and they watch a lot of Chelsea football in the younger ranks. And they said once when the talk came of Rio joining Liverpool, they said, "You've nicked one of our best players." And then I started watching him, and then look, we've been talking about it, that 1v1 ability. But I think we'll all agree that this guy's young, this guy's raw, he's got a lot of pace, he's got a lot of promise, but can we chuck him into the first team? I don't think he's anywhere near that. Maybe he can be in and around the first team squad, get training with the likes of Diaz, Gakpo, learn a few tricks, and then get a few games. He got a few games, didn't he? He started, I think, who did he start against? Plymouth, was it? In the FA Cup, I think. And a few others as well, where he got a few cameos as well. So, look, I think he just needs a few minutes playing the Carabao Cup. And then we'll see what happens. Is he of that development stage of someone like Nathan Vanieri or Arsenal? I don't think so. I think he needs to bulk up a bit as well. Vanieri seems to have got the frame, although he's still got a way to go. But I think he's ahead of that. I don't know exactly how old Vanieri is. Is he 17, 18? But Rio's got, and I think the same goes for Naioni. When you see Naioni real life, you think, wow, this guy looks around about 12, 13 years old. Honestly, I don't know. He looks a bit bulkier, even though not by much on a TV screen. If you see Naioni live walking in past you, you think this guy is not 16, 17 years old. This guy's 12, 13 years old. So I think some of our youngsters have got ability, but he needs to, fill up a bit. Kieran Dolan, thank you very much for your assistance with this, mate. Javier in 2002 moved from Everton to LFC. Yeah, I thought it was probably our last transfer. Con again. Hugo Ekitike liked Frimpong's picture. Interesting. Are they mates, Con? We shall see very, very soon. Let me ask you guys, if you had a choice as to who to bring as our number 9 this year, who would it bring? Well, you cannot give me Julian Alvarez, and you cannot give me Alexander Isak. Count those two names. You tell me who you want as your number 9. First one is Rosa Ekitike is 100%. Khazir Ekitike, wow. Jeans in the house. Smash a like, people. 400, over 400 of you here. Smash a like, subscribe to the channel, and all that good stuff. Thank you very much. Jokeres. Osimhen, there's a surprise. Anthony says Jokeres, quite a few Jokereses. I would take Mohammed. I'll have a look at this later on. Ekitike is mainly Jokeres, It's mainly Jokeres. But the most weird thing is like he's 26 going on 27. I think he turns 27 next week. But why hasn't someone taken punt on him? Look at his numbers. They're absolutely mind-blowing for the last couple of seasons. And even if you can replicate half of those numbers or half of that output, you've got an unbelievable striker. 20 goals a season in the Premier League. I'll shake your hand right now. But there must be something. There was all this talk about Arsenal needing number 9. They're going to go for a box striker. Jokeres is that one, 65 million. It wasn't a done deal, but there was a lot of talk about Jokeres to Arsenal, and they've suddenly made a decision to go with the younger option. The heart of football says wages. It might be wages. I don't know exactly what he's on, but for your number 9, you probably can't pay £180,000 a week, 200 grand a week. I don't know. Yeah, Sesko is going to Arsenal. Look, Sesko is raw. He's got ability, but his numbers suggest that he does need to mature out. He's got that Darwin Núñez in him, where his average shot distance, I think, is around about 17 meters or yards. I can't remember. It's something just slightly out of the ordinary, conventional, relied upon striker, if I can call it that. But the thing is when he does get a low volume chance, he does take it, which the data guys will see as he's got a high ceiling. If you start giving him better quality chances, that rate will only go up, and his ceiling is high. Whenever I've seen him, he does come across as a guy who likes a shot on goal. But who also likes a shot on goal is Ekitike. His volume of shots is a lot, but he's underperforming his XG by 5 goals. So he should have, in theory, 5 more goals to his name. Is it a season that Liverpool nerds will think, okay, we can work with that, we can scale it up? Let's see. But he does seem like a decent, tidy footballer, a neat touch. Whether he's strong enough to hold up the physical centre backs in the Premier League, I think he needs to get a bit stronger. When I watched him against Spurs, I made sure I watched the first leg. He reminded me of like an Isak profile. Obviously not as good, but he did give me some Cody Gakpo vibes as well, where he likes to hover around in those left pockets, left half spaces, and come inside and take a shot. But he was neat and tidy when the ball was played into his feet. I wanted to see more pace from him. Van der Ven, I think played in that first leg. I wanted like a race against him where he just ran into space, because Van der Ven, whatever you might think of him as a centre back, one thing's for sure is he's a really quick centre back and he's got speed. But we didn't really get that matchup. But I did some research. He's the 30th quickest player in Bundesliga, which for me is probably not the quickest. That doesn't really always matter. As long as you've got the brains and as long as you've got enough pace, I think you'll do well. But as long as you've got the movement, I think is more important. Every time you listen to a striker speak about goal scoring, they always talk about that knack of movement, making sure you lose your marksman. Con Asim Frimpong has 74 GA in 190 games for Leverkusen. Wow, I didn't know that. I didn't know that. That is really encouraging. 40% goal involvement. And there's another thing I was talking about. How do you replace Trent? You replace Trent with progression, carrying, because you can't replace his progression via a pass. So you have to do it through carrying. And Frimpong does that. Bradley does that. And then if you got the goal involvement of 40% and 74 goal GA in 190 games, that is really, really good. And I caught a bit of him when the Dutch national side played Spain a couple of months ago. And I thought Frimpong was one of the best players. I think especially in the first leg. I didn't catch the second leg, but I watched the first leg. I thought Frimpong was the Holland's main outlet that night, and I thought he was brilliant. The speed, the tenacity, the taking on ability as well, where he can just stand someone up, whether he's on the touchline or whether he's in central spaces. He really impressed me, and I think he's going to be brilliant. Selection is in the house. He says Ekitike's box movement is really good. That is the number 9 that we want. If his box movement is good, then we have a striker. So I'll take your word for it. Selection. The heart of football. There's a question. If I can get it up. It's not going up. There it is. What do you think of Shirky going to Man City? Is that developing? If it does, do I see him naturally as a Guardiola player? If I'm honest, no. He is that sort of maverick type of player where you need to give time on the ball. You need to create the environment. You need to create the time and space for him to flourish. And when he's got the ball, is one of the best. He has got such a unbelievable natural footballing brain in how to create for his colleague. But I don't know if you've got Haaland and you've got Shirky, where's the press? Where's the chance to win the ball high up the field? Them two are not going to do much running. So I get the hype of Shirky, but just his on the ball footballing ability. Zishan says Pep may use him as a Mahrez. You know, the Mahrez had 1v1 quality, Zishan. He could stand up a man in wide areas. He can take a man on, and he could take it on left foot, right foot, and he can cross the ball as well, and he could score. Shirky can score, but has he got that taking on ability? I'm not so sure. Mahrez was a winger for me. Shirky is not a winger for me anyway, a natural winger. So I think he'll, even if he starts there on paper, he'll always come inside. So and I think this is a good comment. Where does it, you've got Foden as well, who hasn't had a great season, and can he, is he not supposed to be playing off as a striker? So there's so many questions, but I'm glad those questions are not with us, because we had some questions and we're answering them one by one. Farouk, I'm in contact on a more or less a daily basis with Osam. So I'll make sure we'll get him over the summer. So we've got some big shows, big guests lined up for you all. So you just make sure you keep liking and you keep subscribing. Okay, people, I've got football at 7:00. I just promised you, whenever something does go and break, we will make sure we get on screen and we talk about it and we react to the breaking news. So if you're watching this show later on, smash a like. We might be back later on for the evening show. And until then, smash a like, subscribe, and we could see you in a few hours. Take care, and we catch you in the next one. Bye-bye.